In March 2025, something extraordinary happened inside FBI headquarters, something that would reveal just how desperate certain powers became when their secrets faced exposure. A whistleblower from within the Bureau came forward with allegations so disturbing that they would shake the foundations of trust between Trump and his most loyal supporters. According to protected disclosures made to Congress, approximately 1,000 FBI employees were pulled from their regular duties and assigned to a single, urgent mission. Their task was to review over 100,000 records related to Jeffrey Epstein. But this wasn't a normal document review. Sources within the Bureau claimed these employees were given specific instructions to flag and mark every single mention of Donald Trump's name throughout the entire collection of files. The operation unfolded with unusual intensity. Agents worked around the clock in 24-hour shifts, pushing through massive volumes of documents at a pace that left many questioning the true purpose behind such urgency. Reports emerged of FBI personnel sleeping at their desks while waiting for additional files to load. Some brought pillows to headquarters, preparing for extended overnight sessions that became routine during this period. Senator Dick Durbin sent official letters on July 18, 2025 to Attorney General Pam Bondi, FBI Director Kash Patel, and Deputy Director Dan Bongino. These letters confirmed the whistleblower's account. His office stated clearly that information about the operation came through a protected disclosure from an FBI whistleblower. Multiple news organizations, including NBC, ABC, CNN, and Bloomberg, corroborated that up to 1,000 agents participated in this unprecedented effort. The time frame matters here. This massive operation took place from March 14th through the end of March 2025. Just weeks after Trump's administration had promised transparency regarding the Epstein files. The timing raises uncomfortable questions about what triggered such an extensive internal review exactly when public pressure for full disclosure reached its peak. Independent journalist Allison Gill reported on July 20th that her sources within the Bureau confirmed analysts were logging Trump's mentions into Excel spreadsheets. Every time the former president's name appeared in any context within the Epstein documents, it was cataloged and tracked. The systematic nature of this process suggests something far more deliberate than routine file management. Michael Seidel served as chief of the Records Information Dissemination Section at the FBI. According to congressional letters from Representative Jamie Raskin dated September 10th, Seidel allegedly was forced to resign after expressing disagreements with his supervisor about the handling of these files. Raskin cited Bloomberg's August 1st reporting as the source for this claim. While Seidel is confirmed as a real FBI official who held this position, independent verification of his resignation beyond congressional correspondence remains elusive. The scale of resources devoted to this task was staggering. 1,000 federal employees represents a massive allocation of manpower and budget. These weren't just administrative staff shuffling papers. Many were field agents lacking the specialized expertise typically required for document review and Freedom of Information Act processing. Former FBI officials call the operation unusual, even ridiculous in its scope and execution. CNN reported in March that many personnel involved lacked experience identifying information protected by statute. The rushed nature of the assignment and the use of field agents instead of specialized FOIA staff suggested something improvised rather than carefully planned. This was not standard procedure. Something had changed to trigger such an extraordinary response. The operation came after intense political backlash following a symbolic document release on February 27th. Attorney General Bondi had discovered that the FBI's New York office possessed thousands of pages related to Epstein that had never been released to the public. The pressure mounted. Demands for transparency grew louder. And then, quietly, this massive internal operation began. But what exactly were they looking for? Or perhaps more accurately, what were they trying to obscure? The whistleblower's account suggests the focus centered specifically on Donald Trump's connections to Epstein. Every mention had to be identified, cataloged, and presumably evaluated for potential redaction or removal before any public release. The relationship between Trump and Epstein spans approximately 15 years during the 1980s through early 2000s. Flight records confirmed through court filings show Trump flew on Epstein's private planes at least 7 or 8 times between 1993 and 1997. All these flights were domestic routes between Palm Beach, New York, New Jersey, with one stop in Washington, D.C. Critically, no flight records show Trump traveling to the U.S. Virgin Islands or Little St. James Island. Photographic and video evidence documents their social connection extensively. NBC footage from November 1992 shows Trump and Epstein laughing together at a Mar-a-Lago party with cheerleaders from the Buffalo Bills and Miami Dolphins. Getty images captured Trump with his then-girlfriend Melania alongside Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell at Mar-a-Lago on February 12, 2000. Epstein attended Trump's wedding to Marlo Maples in December 1993. In a 2002 interview with New York Magazine, Trump offered an effusive endorsement that would later haunt him. He stated he had known Jeff for 15 years, calling him a terrific guy who was fun to be with. Trump even noted that Epstein liked beautiful women as much as he did, and many of them were on the younger side. This quote became one of the most frequently cited statements about their relationship. The friendship ended somewhere between 2004 and 2007, though the exact timeline remains disputed. Trump and Epstein engaged in a bidding war over a Palm Beach mansion in 2004 that Trump won for $41.35 million. He later sold it in 2008 for $95 million to Russian oligarch Dmitry Rybolovlev. Investigative reporter Sarah Blasky documented in her book that Trump allegedly banned Epstein from Mar-a-Lago around October 2007 after Epstein harassed a club member's teenage daughter. However, in 2025, Trump claimed the split occurred around 2000 because Epstein stole spa employees from Mar-a-Lago, including Virginia Giuffre. This contradicts his 2002 praise of Epstein. Author Michael Wolff released recordings in 2024 from approximately 100 hours of interviews he conducted with Epstein in 2017. In those recordings, Epstein claimed that after losing the real estate bidding war, he believed Trump reported to Palm Beach police about minors at Epstein's house, potentially triggering the 2005 investigation. What remains verified is that Palm Beach police began investigating Epstein in March 2005, and his relationship with Trump had ended by the time of his 2006 arrest. The social connection was real, documented, and extensive, but the legal question centers on whether any evidence exists of Trump participating in Epstein's criminal activities. No court documents contain proven allegations of criminal conduct by Trump related to Epstein. This represents the most important conclusion from exhaustive analysis of judicial records across multiple cases. The only formal accusations ever filed in court were the Katie Johnson lawsuits in 2016. An anonymous plaintiff using pseudonyms filed 3 separate lawsuits in California and New York, alleging Trump and Epstein assaulted her in 1994 when she was 13 years old. All 3 lawsuits were dismissed or voluntarily withdrawn before trial. The California case was dismissed in May 2016 for failing to establish a civil rights claim. The first New York case was withdrawn in September 2016. The second New York case was withdrawn on November 4, 2016, just 4 days before the election. No evidence was presented in court since the cases were dismissed before discovery. The plaintiff's identity was never confirmed. Sworn testimony from Epstein's victims actually denies Trump's involvement in misconduct. Virginia Giuffre, who tragically died by suicide in April 2025 after becoming one of Epstein's most prominent accusers, testified in her November 2016 deposition that she never saw Trump at Epstein's house. When asked repeatedly, she responded that she did not remember seeing him there. When questioned about media reports, Giuffre explicitly stated she never said he physically saw him having relations with girls. She declared she did not physically see him engaged in such activities with any girls, so she could not say who he had relations with or not, but she knew it was not with her when she was with other girls. Johanna Schoberg, testifying in a deposition released in January 2024, confirmed visiting one of Trump's casinos with Epstein and Giuffre in 2001. When asked directly if she ever gave Trump massages, Sjoberg responded, "No, twice." Juan Alessi, Epstein's house manager, testified in September 2009 that he saw Trump at Epstein's Palm Beach house for dinners, but he never sat at the main table. He ate with Alessi in the kitchen. When asked if Trump received massages at Epstein's house, Alessi said no because Trump has his own spa. In Maxwell's trial in December 2021, a victim testifying under the pseudonym Jane stated that Jeffrey Epstein introduced her to Donald Trump when she was 14 at Mar-a-Lago during the 1990s. Jane made no allegations of inappropriate conduct by Trump. The testimony simply confirmed a social introduction.
Ghislaine Maxwell herself, in her July 2025 Department of Justice interview, a 337-page transcript released in August, stated she never saw the president in any inappropriate setting in any way. She declared the president was never inappropriate with anyone, and she never saw him in any kind of massage setting. However, Maxwell's credibility remains questioned as a convicted trafficker seeking clemency. Attorney Brad Edwards, who represents numerous Epstein survivors, stated in 2025 that not a single victim has said Trump abused them. At a Capitol Hill press conference in September 2025, a group of Epstein survivors called for release of all Epstein files, but no survivor made accusations against Trump. This documented absence of victim testimony accusing Trump makes the March 2025 FBI operation even more perplexing. If no victims have come forward with allegations, if sworn depositions deny his involvement in criminal activities, and if no charges have ever been filed, what exactly justified deploying 1,000 federal employees to flag every mention of his name? The answer may lie not in uncovering crimes, but in managing political optics. By July 2025, the Trump administration faced unprecedented revolt from its own MAGA base over Epstein file handling. On July 7th, the Department of Justice and FBI released an explosive memo declaring that no incriminating client list exists. After reviewing over 300 gigabytes of data involving more than 1,000 victims, investigators concluded there was no credible evidence of blackmail operations, that Epstein died by suicide, not murder, and that no additional disclosure would be appropriate or justified. This memo directly contradicted beliefs held by millions of Trump supporters who expected explosive revelations. The reaction was immediate and fierce. On July 12th, Trump defended Attorney General Pam Bondi on Truth Social, stating they were on a team and he did not like what was happening. He accused critics of trying to damage the administration all over a guy who never dies, Jeffrey Epstein. He told supporters not to waste time and energy on someone nobody cares about. By July 16th, Trump called it a Democrat hoax, declaring everything had been a big con, perpetrated by Democrats and some stupid Republicans and dumb Republicans who fall into the trap. He called critics weak and said he no longer wanted their support. This represented one of the rare moments where Trump turned against segments of his own base. Polling showed the political damage. An NPR-PBS News Marist poll from September 2025 found that 77% wanted the files released with victim names redacted, and 61% disapproved of the Trump administration's handling, including 30% of Republicans. Only 20% overall approved of the handling. Marist pollster Lee Miringoff noted that for some reason, this issue seemed to have touched more nerves than any of the others. The House Oversight Committee released over 33,295 pages in multiple batches starting September 2, 2025. These included court documents, flight records, and video footage from Epstein's cell block with 1 minute missing. Representatives Thomas Massie and Ro Khanna introduced a discharge petition on September 3rd to force the DOJ to release all files within 30 days. Republicans Marjorie Taylor Greene, Lauren Boebert, and Nancy Mace co-sponsored, representing rare bipartisan support. On September 26th, the third batch from Epstein's estate, released by House Oversight Democrats, included 8,544 documents. These contained phone message records from 2002 through 2005, flight records and manifests from 1990 through 2019, financial ledgers, and Epstein's daily schedule. Names mentioned included Elon Musk with pending island trip, Peter Thiel with scheduled meetings, Steve Bannon with scheduled meetings, and Prince Andrew as flight passenger with payments to masseuses. Federal judges rejected attempts to unseal grand jury materials. On August 11th, Judge Paul Engelmeyer in the Southern District of New York denied the motion for the Maxwell case, rebuking the government. He stated an observer might conclude the government's motion for unsealing was aimed not at transparency, but at diversion, not at full disclosure, but the illusion of such. On August 20th, Judge Richard Berman denied unsealing of Epstein's New York grand jury records, citing secrecy protections. On July 23rd, Florida Judge Robin Rosenberg denied the motion, stating her hands were tied under 11th Circuit law. The Wall Street Journal reported on July 17th about an alleged letter in a leather album for Epstein's 50th birthday in 2003. The letter contained a drawing of a nude female body and text stating a friend is a wonderful thing, happy birthday, and may each day be another wonderful secret. Trump responded that it was false, claiming he did not write it, does not draw pictures, and those were not his words. On July 18th, Trump filed a $10 billion defamation lawsuit against the Journal. After the House Oversight Committee released the letter image in September, Trump claimed the signature was forged. The Journal filed a motion to dismiss in September, alleging the article is true. They stated the letter exists in Epstein estate records and was released by the House Oversight Committee. The Journal argued the signature matches Trump's signatures from the same time period. Litigation remains ongoing. Spanish and Latin American media provided extensive analysis of the scandal. El Orden Mundial published analysis declaring that neither tariffs, nor Gaza, nor mass raids against migrants, the biggest threat so far for Donald Trump in his second term is the Epstein case. Neutral provided detailed chronology covering Elon Musk's June 2025 allegation that Trump appears in Epstein files. BBC Mundo and CNN Español covered the UK embassy scandal and analyzed how the Epstein scandal affects international relations. France 24 Español titled their coverage "The Epstein Case Between Internal Tensions, Conspiracy Theories, and an Ambiguous Position by Trump." Hoy Dia in Argentina titled theirs "The Scandal That Hits Trump," and analyzed that the case represents a broken symbolic contract between Trump and the MAGA base. Independent Español covered the House Oversight Committee release of 33,000 pages in survivor interviews. Several false claims have circulated widely. PolitiFact debunked social media claims that Trump made 4,725 bank transfers to Epstein. Senator Ron Wyden revealed in July 2025 that Epstein's Treasury Department file contains $1.1 billion in wire transfers, but Wyden never mentioned Trump in relation to these transfers. The Senate Finance Committee spokesman confirmed Trump was not mentioned. The theory that Epstein was murdered persists, despite the medical examiner ruling suicide and multiple investigations confirming suicide. Trump fueled this theory in 2019 by retweeting posts suggesting Bill Clinton was involved, but he retracted it in 2023. The DOJ explicitly stated in July 2025 that Epstein died by suicide. The campaign promise claim was exaggerated. Democrats claimed Trump made releasing Epstein files a central campaign promise. Fact-checkers found Trump made conditional statements when asked in June 2024 on Fox and Friends and September 2024 on Lex Fridman's podcast, but never mentioned it at rallies or major speeches. His full June response included caveats about not wanting to affect people's lives if false things were in the files. The most important distinction remains between mention and accusation, between accusation and proof. Trump's name appears in Epstein-related documents, primarily in verified contexts, including social connections from the 80s through 2000s, confirmed flight passenger on 7 to 8 domestic flights from 1993 to 1997, Mar-a-Lago context where Giuffre worked and was recruited, neutral or exculpatory witness mentions in depositions, and dismissed Katie Johnson allegations never proven in court. No documents contain proven allegations of illegal conduct by Trump, victim testimony alleging abuse by Trump, evidence of Trump visiting Epstein's island, criminal charges against Trump, or findings of civil liability against Trump. Being mentioned in documents does not equal being accused of crimes, which does not equal being proven to have committed crimes. The 1,000 FBI employees working 24-hour shifts in March 2025 were not uncovering new evidence of crimes. They were managing a political crisis. The systematic flagging of every Trump mention suggests preparation for selective disclosure or strategic redaction. The whistleblower's courage in coming forward revealed an operation that prioritized political protection over public transparency. Epstein survivors deserve the full truth. As survivor Haley Robeson said directly to Trump in September 2025, "I cordially invite you to the Capitol